we've now got the dates. We have now got the venue. So what we have now is we've got a checklist that we have come up with that really has also assigned some specific tasks to people. So I don't know, Lynette, whether I should go into that checklist so that colleagues know exactly where we are and how we are progressing in terms of the preparations. And then I can also speak a little bit to the participation or the participants. So I don't know, Lynette, what you think, whether I should share the checklist so that we go one by one.
Yes, I think that would be useful. This meeting will be successful if every department here has all the information they require to start working. So as much information as possible will be useful. So please carry on.
All right, so let me do that. Just give me a minute. Just opening up the checklist, okay? So let me share now. Let me know when you start seeing it.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the confirmation, the agreement of the AU hosting the childcare convening, this has been agreed upon. The dates have been set. We have not yet updated this. Initially, we were looking at 17th to 19th, but as I had just said, these dates have changed to 18th to 20th of June, okay? So confirmation of availability of the conference facilities. So Alleluia will follow up on that because the setting up of or rather the confirmation of the room was dependent on the approval memo. So they have their own approval system within the AU, which was to be initiated at the AUC. HHS department. So once that approval has been given, then they can also confirm the dates. So in terms of action point, this was left with our colleagues. So they're supposed to update us. We do have, and by the way, we have weekly meetings. So we have a scheduled meeting every Thursday afternoon, and I'm happy to say that in the last meeting, we also had panel and Dedan attended that meeting. So there is a meeting this coming Thursday, okay? We had said we'd set up a conference preparatory committees for task allocation. So this essentially has been done because as you can see, we looked at some of the tasks and who should be able to attend to it. So the issues of the save the date, the note, comms materials. Yes.
So sorry, Given. I can see Emmanuel hasn't joined and we need
really?
taking the minutes.
Okay, let me.
He has just joined.
So you will share the recording with him so that he has full minutes?
Okay, so Emmanuel, I'm sure you followed, I think, the minutes for this meeting. Okay, so this was assigned to the media team, and we suggested that the regional media person should be part of that. The regional media consultant, Cheta, should be part of that team. So the whole issue around save the date, the communication materials around this, the press release, etc. So Derek from the AAU, Cheta from AU, and then Penel, you were put on that team. So you will advise whether that's the appropriate team for you. So concept note finalization and agenda, and then of course, eventually also working on the guiding questions for panels. This was assigned to myself, Rosemary, Lucy, and Dr. Sheila from the AU to provide some oversight. So we have yet to sort of this small team to meet and finalize the concept note and the agenda. And by the way, for the information of colleagues, we do have a draft concept note. We do have a draft agenda, but these need to be worked on to bring them to the states that we particularly also that since we are collaborating with the African Union, we also need their input so that the concept note, the agenda also reflects, you know, their sort of their focus in terms of the of this convening. Okay. Approvals and invitations, the note verbal, the protocol issues. So Alleluia, Eric, Martha, and Marie. So most of these were from the AU because they are the ones that would be able to advise. Then list of participants, Kamasara, Dedan, Peno, Given, myself, and Alleluia, who would work together on this. Logistics, Dedan, Peno, Martha, and Alleluia. And then the following up of invitations, we said Eric and Emmanuel should make sure that once we finalize the lists, that we follow up, we make active follow-up on the invitations so that, you know we have confirmations as soon as possible. The run-off show given to follow up with Dr. Lynette on a few additional services needed, such as the master of ceremony, the rapporteur, the facilitators, moderators. Of course, all that is yet to be concluded, and particularly facilitators, moderators, once we get the lists ready of the participants, and also we are more, once we sort of firm up agenda, we will need to really work on this also to assign who can be the facilitators for the different sessions. So Lynette, I will be reaching out to you on that one. Invite partners interested in supporting. I think this was assigned to us because remember we've been saying that there are a number of partners that may want to come on board that have not been able to come on board. So in the last meeting, we agreed that AFCAN will be able to update in the next meeting any discussions we've had either with UNICEF or other partners that we are looking at to be part of this process. Draft concept, okay, this one I've already spoken to it. Agenda, the concept note, the agenda, I've spoken to it. And then we said identification of keynote speakers. That would be both AU and AFCAN. And of course, it's also dependent on once we get the final program and agenda in place. Compiling list of conference documents, AFCAN, we will be able to do this. And under this is also the work that we've been doing with ICDI in terms of the synthesis reports. And I am also aware that UNICEF also has been doing some work in the area of some analytical pieces of work in the area, like kind of landscape as well, I believe, in child care. So that would also be good to touch base with UNICEF in terms of some of the key documents that they may have too. Then communication, communicate to those to be sponsored. Yes, I think the idea for the conference is that we're going to have participants that will be supported by AFCAN. And then we also, I think what we discussed last time, we said we would have participants that would then also sponsor themselves in terms of their participation. So we would keep it open. Now, for the AFCAN participants, maybe after this I can share some of the thinking that we have around that. And then who we, for us, is a must to have at the conference. And then we need to agree, I think, in terms of how we then also invite, we open it up to those others that might be interested to participate, but meet their own costs. I don't think we will, I'm not sure, but of course we'll have to, whether there will be participation, what do you call this, conference fees or whatever. I mean, those are the details that we may need to discuss, or how do we open it up and to whom. And we were, in our initial discussions, we were saying that we would work around 250, 300 people. And I think we were not looking at a conference of the magnitude of the East African Conference, but at a smaller level. Prepare admin note. This was Eric and Marie, but I think Dedan probably would have to be there because we said AU and Afghan. Logistics of travel and all this, I think those are part of that discussion. And then the develop media and communication plan, as I said, including sending out save the dates in collaboration with Chetsa. We do have a meeting this week. I think it's on Wednesday, right, Emmanuel, with Chetsa? Yeah,
yes, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday. With
Yes.
the country media consultants. I think she will be sharing some of her strategic plan and so that we sort of firm that up. So that possibly should include the communication around the conference and how that will look like. Okay, so I think this is just to mention, this is just a summary of the tasks. So we do have a meeting on Thursday where all the teams will be updating on what they've done. And this morning I was talking to Emmanuel that before Thursday, we need to make a round with all the colleagues that have been listed in terms of tasks to see whether they have started or are working on that. Okay, so let me stop there, Lynette, for this part, and then I can come back to the issue of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Given. So, colleagues, all of us now, we wear our lenses and look at this and ask the questions that need to be made. Note that we have only 9 weeks or thereabout for the conference, which is not much time. And so I would like that we first of all agree on weekly meetings. I've just had a quick look at the calendar, and it seems everybody, at least from what I see in the calendar, everybody seems to be available 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. Would you please confirm, in case you're not available, 1 p.m. every Tuesday? This is the Afghan internal meeting, because there's, of course, the AU meeting going on, but then there's our own logistics, because remember, we are the ones at the center of supporting the conference. So with hands up, are we all okay with 1 p.m. every Tuesday? So today, we don't meet tomorrow, but now next week on Tuesday.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Lynette, just for next week, most of the colleagues will be on leave on that Tuesday. Now we can, maybe you can advise. Just
So
for next week.
only for next week because of the Easter. We can do 1 o'clock on 23rd. Let me look. 1 o'clock on 23rd, yes. Is that okay? Only for next week?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So Judith, can you please immediately mark our calendars? 23rd, 1 o'clock, but thereafter every Tuesday. Secondly, for Afghan side, as you look at the people around this call, is there somebody who needs to be here who is not here? From Afghan side. Okay. Thirdly, Given took us through, yes?
Maybe Rosemary?
Yes, Rosemary needs to be here. Judith, did you include her in the link?
Yes, I did.
Okay, maybe the short notice. So please make sure she's included. And you also included Nicole, right?
No, I had not included her. Can just give her a call.
you can give her a call. But make
Okay.
sure going forward, the two are included. And our card, maybe we'll spare him for the time that he is not well. But then after that, it's important that he's also part of the process. Now,
Okay.
for the Tuesday calls, I know I have said that there are some people who are right at the center. For example, Given, Rosemary, and our ops colleagues. I don't know, Liz, Joanne, I know Kamasara, you've been involved, isn't it? Is it necessary, Liz, you know your workload, Joanne, you know your workload. Are you able to make the time? If you are, it's good to join. We value everybody's input. But the pressure is if you have any conflicts or something, please make sure that your input has been received, particularly by Given. Is that okay? So that
Yep,
we're
that's
not
okay.
dragging everybody into. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's okay. And
So that was the second.
yeah, given where
Mhm.
you'd need strategic input or, you know, that kind of input from us, you can call on us. Or yeah, otherwise then we're not at the center of this. We may prioritize our other work, but happy to support as needed.
Okay. So thirdly, Given shared with us a list of committees that have been set up by the colleagues who meet on Thursdays. I just wanted to be sure that we have an African person in every committee, because that's the only way we loop back to Afghan. So with the designs, I can see that Penwell is there, agenda Given is there. Can we scroll down? Hallelujah. So this one needs an African person. Just, sorry, please go back. Yes. Approvals of invitations. Given who need there, because how do we link to this process? Hallelujah is very busy.
I think we need someone there. Yeah, because the reason why they sort of skewed it to the AUC is because of this not verbal protocol issues. But yeah, but I think we need somebody there. So I'm not sure who would be the best there.
Will they be updating during your Thursday meeting so that we put your name here for you to harvest the update from the Thursday meeting?
You mean to be part of that team?
Yes, so that as Afghan, we know there's somebody there. If we ever asked about what's happening with approvals, invitations, we know who to talk to.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so participants, that is fine. Logistics, that is fine.
Sorry, Lynette, so I include
Yourself.
should I include? Okay, I'll do that, yeah. Okay.
Just for the purpose of making sure we are plugged into all the discussions and we don't have a gap. Because remember, like for the East African, an invitation can go from the AU to a country, and the people we have been working with in that country are not aware, yet we are hoping that they will come. You know, the issue we were discussing about EAC and Kenya. So that now we ask for the invitation letter to send it to our contact to do the legwork, because AU doesn't send directly to ministries. It sends to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that route is very long. So somebody to keep an eye on the people we are hoping will come and to fast track.
Because we had this team here, comprising also of Emmanuel. I suppose that could also be another layer. It was Eric and Emmanuel that were supposed to do the follow-ups of all the invitations. to make sure that every, where is it? Anyway,
It's on
somewhere.
top. It's on top.
It's on top.
Yes, yes. It's on
I go
top.
up again.
Yes, there. For up on
Oh, yes, it
invitation.
was this one here. Follow-ups on invitation.
Mm.
Eric is from the AU.
Ah.
Emmanuel.
Okay. So we just leave you there for the person
Mhm. Yeah.
want to know
Okay.
if the invitation been signed, has been, just that follow-up. That's before it is sent out.
Mhm.
And also keeping track of what's included in the letter. Again, learning from EAC experience so that we are not writing there. DSA will be paid according to the rules of the AU, and we don't know what those rules are. Because in that letter, and perhaps this is the best time to say it, that UNICEF is going to pay for accommodation. So we want upfront when the invitation letters are going out, they are saying accommodation will be provided. So, but there will be a small top up for dinner or something like that. Okay. So on that note, Dedan, since we have the dates, I think you immediately, because the Radisson Blu is a UNICEF approved hotel, you immediately write to them, tell them we're expecting roughly, because we don't have the list yet. Given, if I remember correctly, you are saying 5 times the 5 countries.
Yeah,
So
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, roughly what numbers are we sponsoring? The ones UNICEF will pay accommodation for.
Yeah, so we said, should I put it up?
Okay, do you want us to discuss it during the list of participants?
Okay, yeah, I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then flag that, because at the end of this call, you should immediately have fired an email to Radisson Blu to ask for accommodation. I think you are in contact with them. So you organized Liz's and my travel, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. Maybe before I fire the email, maybe what would guide me is our budget.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh.
But we're just saying, don't leave this call before you have all the information needed for that email.
Okay.
Okay, so the floor is open now. I think my immediate questions are out. The floor is open. We go around and everybody raises issues that are related to them. So that if you are concerned about participants list, then we given a chance to put it up. You are concerned about venue, we can go that way. So who wants to go first? Just unmute and proceed.
Yes.
I think given you have furnished everybody with a link that has the concept note, right?
Yeah, well, not internally in Afghan, so I need to include colleagues in Afghan. So it was shared with the AU team, that team that meets on Thursday.
Okay.
But I will share with everybody.
All right. The floor is open.
Okay. Let me then start.
You're not very clear.
Can you? I don't know. Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm in a place that's not.
Just keep going. If we lose you, we'll let you know.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to say, Dedan, can we make sure that all these documents are live documents? For example, there's a document that was shared yesterday that was not live. I mean, I think the OneDrive that is being used is not part of the Afghan OneDrive. So probably when the person's laptop is off and we want to quickly check on an item, we are not able to. So all these working documents, can we create a folder, for example, called the child convening folder, where any document that is being updated, for example, this document remains there and is accessible to the team, whether it's just for information, so that we have one live location for all the updates and additional documents coming. That would be good. So secondly, I noticed, yes, thanks given for this checklist from the programs team. There is a checklist that we have developed and we'd like to use this child convening as the key document that we will follow from the ops side. And we will be adding or changing this document, refining this document as we go along and see the needs. So we will need to align our document with the document. For example, in our document, I've just said that we already have the concept note draft form and the meeting program is also in draft form. These are items that we will need the programs team to conclude in, even as we come in as the ops team to follow through certain things. So I just want to say that we will be aligning our documents with the other things. And key for us, once the concept note, the budget has been approved, we come in now with the venue that has been decided on and the list of participants. And we start following up in terms of the travel documentation. For now, in the opening activities for the ops team, I think that is very well. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Penwell. The floor is still open, so the action there is to align, to now transition this to the Afghan OneDrive, that's number one. Number two, to transition this information to the Afghan checklist, which is the one we will be using whenever we have Afghan internal meetings. And perhaps this would be a good time for Penwell to share. Are you in a position to share that checklist? Because you guys prepared it and maybe people might have input. Shall we give you 2 minutes to just share it and then we can move further?
So stop the sharing for that and just go to this. Okay, so that is the document. We're calling it meeting planning procedure. Right on the, I think we have just itemized it and put on responsible persons. For course, there has to be a meeting concept note, and if you and right at the end of all this, of course, the procedures I'll be having a comment section, which I will be noting my own comments for that. But let's just run down the list and the estimated timelines that we are thinking are important for us to adhere to in order to reach a place where the ops team can rightly support. So we have the concept note and then confirmation of the meeting, approval. Apologies, we will reward some of these phrases to appear better, and a budget approval. So the program team follow up on this. Yes, we have the concept note in draft. We have the confirmation of the meeting, and of course the venue, subject to any other changes that come in. And then this concept note will be brought, of course, to our planning meeting. And then a confirmed schedule will need to be available for us to do a third date from our forms team. After that, of course, then we come up now with a list of participants. We have a tentative list and an agenda that has to be part of the session that our travel team will use now to begin the tentative travel schedule and flights, like, and the booking also for the hotel, whether it is a conference package, full board or better package, as the case may be. After that, of course, or in line with that, we have the DSA, and as that's been clearly stated, we need to be very clear with our intentions right at the onset, so we do not get issues last meeting and the plan we are trying to organize. There has to be very clear communication on the DSA and on the hotel company. We are supporting or the parts of the boarding or the hotel activities that we are supporting from our own budget. And then, of course, hand in hand with that, branding and visual, which have to be done very early, keeping in mind that we will print almost in the last week, I believe. I do not, Dedan will help me understand how we have been doing other printing activities, especially for a meeting like in Addis. Do we carry banners from here, or do we print in Ethiopia or in Addis? And that remembering that once a banner is printed, it cannot be easily edited. It has to be flashed if there are major changes. So we have to come up with the approval of the visual quite early, so that we are sure that we are not trying to change the last minute some other new items that has come. And then, of course, ticketing activities also come in with any waivers that need to come, any forms that need to be submitted to the travel team, and the confirmation, of course, which we always ask after the preliminary itineraries have been sent out. The travelers must confirm with us and say, yes, this schedule is good. Please go ahead with it. Then we go into ticketing, and once we ticket, then we also have a post confirmation of all the details, depending on the final ticket schedule. Then, of course, we close with the activities surrounding the hotel venue booking, and of course the accommodation payment. Hopefully, this is a hotel, if Afken is bearing the cost of that, or whoever is bearing the cost of that. For in the case of Afken, we would like to be hosting our meetings where we have a fairly flexible arrangements, like the Zambia meeting. Actually, the last hotel where we had the Zambia meeting, in terms of their flexibility in allowing us to do final payments once we have done our own internal investigation. I doubt whether it takes us more than 1 week after an event to be ready to pay, and that is the flexibility we wish for. Not want to go to a hotel where we have hosted 30 or 50 or more people, then the hotel demands we pay before we exit. We want to have a tradition. So I'm hoping that whichever hotels will go forward with this last item signed for hotel booking, accommodation, and final clearance is an item that can be flexible enough to be completed after our guests have exited. We have done with the hotel. So basically, this is a list. Is a developing list that may change for the best in case nobody else knows something after that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Penwell. You are not too clear. I hope everyone captured, but I think there is an opportunity to ask a question. So colleagues, all of you look at this and look at where you fit in and you can ask a question. I would like, for example, for the meeting concept note, budget, participants list, and invitation letter, all of them to come together 6 weeks to the meeting. Don't separate them like they are different things. The participants list must be approved before people start talking about DSA and travel. I'll be coming in too late. I want to look at it earlier. So here, meeting concept note, comma, agenda, comma, participants list, comma, invitation letter. All of them in number 1 to come in early. So that's where I see me. Once I have approved the budget, I don't think I need to come in to do DSA processing and etc. Because that will be part of the budget. Am I right, Dedan?
Yes, that will be part of the budget based on the list submitted.
Yeah, so you can remove me. I don't think I would want to look at things too many times, ticketing and DSA confirmation. I normally don't do that for conferencing once I've approved the participants list. So when the participants list comes early, there are a lot of these other steps I don't need to get involved in. Yeah?
Yes.
Because DSA confirmation is in the budget. Ticketing, we have it in the budget. So number 8, yeah. So anyone else? Anything related to, so this is not just specific to the upcoming childcare conference. I think even for the people planning the EAC, Liz, Nicole, look at it from that point. This is an Afghan workflow. I think before I look at things, they would have been drafted.
I think in terms of documents that need to be printed for the meeting, you know, where we have the branding and visuals, maybe that's where it would come, that anything that needs printing is included there. I mean, even a registration form or anything that's going to be handed out to participants. I know these days many things are, you know, digital, but all printing needs should be in within that time so that then it's handled together.
Yeah, so before we start talking about meeting notes, I think there's the preparation of all those things that comes in maybe 8 weeks to the meeting. Before we start talking about it being ready to be presented for approval, there's a line before line number 1. Because there's some work that programs people will do before they're ready to, and then you include their line that says full staff meeting. At least, see, these lines are at least 7 weeks to the meeting, so that none of these processes should go on before we have a full staff meeting. But it will have to come quite early, like now, you know? Yeah. So given what are the things that happened before now? Because we are here and we are saying, yes, the meeting will take place. What steps have we missed on this workflow?
You mean even before the full staff meeting?
Yes, because you see here we've come to the staff meeting to say, okay, definitively, we're having a meeting here because you've had several meetings with the partners. There was interaction you had before.
Yeah,
You can't come to the
exactly.
staff meeting as the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's been a sort of engagement on the whole, you know, the whole issue of the childcare convening. What do we want? You know, who should we talk to? Who should we collaborate with? You know, that initial conceptualization of the convening, and then of course engagement with the host, or I don't know whether it's co-host. How do we refer to the AU? Lynette, is it a host or co-host?
They're hosts. So just say
Yeah,
engagement with host and co-hosts.
Yeah. And
So
just
that one
even
is
yeah, because we had that discussion and even just agreeing on the general framework. What is it that we want? So that's what has been happening behind the scenes, and you know, agreeing on dates, agreeing on general numbers, you know, those kind of discussions, very general discussions have been going on. Yeah, so you actually need that conceptual phase before you can even start talking about the details, like we've been discussing in the staff meeting.
Okay. So now that we have looked at this list, you've had your conversations, it's ripe now for presentation to the staff meeting. Now we can talk about key steps, key next steps. So given we need to have a discussion on the concept note, invitation, etc., and this might be a good time for maybe not the concept note, it may need more time, but the participants list. Maybe we can transition to that. But colleagues, this document, I hope, Penwell, it will be on the OneDrive for meetings. Dedan, if you could create a OneDrive for meetings that then all colleagues can access, so that if anything comes up, we can sort of flag that it needs to be captured. So this is a living document. All right, thanks, Dedan. Given participants
Okay,
list,
yeah. All right, so for the participants list, I just want to I'll do it in a two-step approach. One is kind of giving a quick overview of what they're thinking, and then we also have an Excel where we were brainstorming and putting everybody who we think could be there. So let me just give you first a quick overview. Let me just see if I could share that. Are you able to see it?
yes.
Okay. So we were talking about countries, the government participation. So we've got these first phase countries. We've got these first phase countries, the 5 ones that have been implementing the child care. So that's Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, Zambia. Then we were also considering a second phase countries where we think we could bring on board in the second phase of the childcare work. So and the suggestion was, I'm not sure whether I captured that correctly. No, I think this is wrong. Sorry about this. These countries, the way they've been put there are not correct, but I have the correct version here in the table. So for each of the ones in green are the next phase countries. So the first phase countries, we were looking at, in terms of government representation, the minister plus 2 technical people. Okay, particularly the ministry responsible for childcare. Okay, so that would be for each of these 5 countries. And then we were, for the next phase countries, we were thinking of Malawi, Rwanda, we thought Ghana, Senegal, and Ivory Coast could be a possibility. And I think I discussed this with Lynette, but also had a quick chat with Elizabeth around the West Africa countries. So those are the 5 countries that we are proposing. So in terms of countries, we are focusing on, we would focus or would like to focus on the 10 countries. But of course, this is open for discussion. I know there has been some, whether we include all the countries or some countries, but I think initially we're looking at these 10 countries. Okay, now for each of these countries, we would then also include the national ECD network. So in the 5 countries, at least 1 person from the NAPS. Now, I've put a question mark there because I'm not sure, depending on the budget for the countries, whether we would also include the NAPS there. And we said for the second phase countries, instead of having 2 technical persons, we would then have maybe a minister plus 1 technical person from the responsible ministry. And whether we would include the NAPS is for the second wave countries is I put a question mark there. Then we are saying that we would, of course, we've been working with the 6 media consultants, that is the 5 media consultants from the countries and 1 media consultant, the regional level media consultant, 6 researchers who did the landscape analysis. 5, sorry. So we had a discussion with Lynette, and I think because of the budgetary consideration, the suggestion is maybe we can drop the researchers, but anyway, we've put them there. Then we have ICDI and possibly others, but then we're also looking at CSOs or other quasi-government or institutions rather that we think needs to be there. So NITA for Kenya is one of the institutions that we thought could be there, but also we brainstormed a bit about other partners. For example, there would be but maybe these may not be have to have support from Afghan per se, but these are partners that we think should be there. Echidna Giving, UNICEF, World Bank, EGDAN. There was a proposal to have Smart Start, Kidogo, and then also the Sonke Justice, WIEGO, for we need to bring in the we constituency or players, etc. Their World Nature First, etc. But of course, and then we've got the Sonke Justice. Actually, is a kind of alliance. I don't know whether it's an alliance, but it's kind of umbrella. It deals with a number of men engaged, and whether we would want to have men engaged representation from the 10 countries or from the 5 countries that implemented the childcare, we need to discuss. So, and then of course we have the Afghan team. This is just a proposal. We will also have the Afghan Union team. I think there could be a 3rd department there. And then, of course, the African Union would have to, the Afghan team would have to be discussed. But the point of this is really to try to begin to zero in on who will Afghan support. And that's, we would want also to have to be very clear in terms of the government participation and which other non-government players Afghan can bring on board. So that is one a quick presentation, but we also have an Excel, which was more kind of brainstorming. So if I may be just allowed to go through there. So this is really brainstorming. So don't worry about who we have there. Yeah. So, and I think, yeah, Rose, you also worked on this. I think you worked on this initially. So Ethiopia, we thought for each country team, there would be government, there would be the landscape consultant, the media champions, etc. So all the 5 countries that we listed there. For Uganda, Zambia, and then of course we have the Afghan team there, the AU. We're thinking 2, 4, 6, maybe people from the AU. And then we were looking at the regional bodies, the RECs. I don't know, we may want to look at a representation from EAC, a representation from SADC, and then of course WHO. UNICEF, we're thinking of the UNICEF country offices, apart from just SRO, the UNICEF country offices, if they're able to self-sponsor, would be good. So essentially, what I'm saying, UN or Women, UNIFEM, World Bank, Oxfam, FAWE, World Vision, Children in Crossfire, those that have initiatives in the care area, etc. Now, we need 2 lists. One is the list for everybody. Who are we going to send the invitation to? So that will be where the 300 people, who will comprise the 300 people. So we need that list. And then number 2 list would be who will Afghan really focus on in terms of ensuring that they are there, particularly government. And then, of course, that would also depend on which partners come on board and the support that they will be able to give. So let me end there, Lynette, but just thought I should share these 2 lists and also the idea of a focus around 10 countries.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Given. I can see it's now time for us to move to our next call. But in terms of our national networks, if we could go to the categories. So we are saying category 1, our 5 countries, a minister, 2 technical people from each one of our 5 countries. Each one of our 5 countries, depending upon their role, the media champions could be invited. But if the time now is for our regional media person, then we don't need them because they had a work to do within the countries. Their role was national level, right? So unless they have a unique role. Category 2, so for every country, we are getting 3 people. We are getting the minister and 2 technical people. We're getting our networks, so that is 4. And those were the key players, isn't it? So 4 people from each one of our countries, so that is 20. Then, I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was just going to ask, I had something about CSO or
We're not funding them. We're not funding. So as Steven said, there are 2 lists, people we are funding and then people we are inviting. So now I'm looking at the ones we are funding. So from every country, we've agreed on the 4. So 4 times 5 is 20. On the new countries, and you're right that this bottom list is more accurate, I'm not so sure what we said about Rwanda, because they don't move that easily. And we said we would be better off perhaps if we get somebody from Rwanda, that's good because they have great programs. Otherwise, we get a West African country. So our next phase would be West Africa, actually. I would flag Rwanda immediately. And Liz, you could begin talking to us about a West African country, maybe the Gambia, because we already have good networks. You know, sometimes it's good to concentrate help in one country. That way you help it a lot more. You support it a lot more. Am I right, Liz?
Yeah, Gambia. Yeah, Gambia is promising and would benefit then solidifying their work.
Okay, so for these countries, we would have again the country team plus the
Sorry, Lynette.
Yeah.
So what are you saying about Rwanda? We remove them completely and replace it with Gambia?
I'm thinking so, because Rwanda, every meeting we've held, they don't travel that easily. We can leave it there, and I'm having regular calls with Oliver. I will raise this because he has his network in Rwanda, and we will see. But I would say, since this new wave is for West Africa, let's do that justice. Let's actually have, you know, some West African countries. So that would be the Gambia, but I'll come back to you on Rwanda. Definitely every country we work with, there must be a network. And actually, if I remember well, we spoke about Togo. So if Ivory Coast, Liz, well, our network in Ivory Coast is not, this is our opportunity in Togo.
Togo as a new country?
As a new country, because we are forming some relationships there that are promising to, because Ivory Coast, we don't have presence yet, isn't it?
No, it's very weak.
It's weak. But
Because
Togo,
it just depends on one person, yeah.
Yeah, Togo is different. We've started some good conversations. Remember, Irina has gone there and she's already doing good work. Yeah, trying to get ECD stakeholders together. So that could be a better country to work with there. They might be easier to work with. So for this country, New Wave, we definitely have, so that would be 5 countries times 2 people from government plus, gosh, have I missed a call? Oh yes, I have a call right now. Hi, I'm joining shortly. Yeah, so definitely the network, that's all I wanted to add here, plus the network. And then what I will request is, let's now create a proper Excel with spaces. As the names come, we fill them in, because we need to now begin. Yeah. Now, for the CSOs, you asked a good question. We will not fund any. We will invite them. For Afghan, it depends on what role people are playing. But this second wave of countries, we will invite the landscape, the consultant. So there's work to be done in identifying academia. It may be too early to get in a media consultant because we haven't established that partnership yet. Good people, let me jump into another call. But I would kindly request that we finish this list, if you can send it sometime today, because then it will be easy. The other thing I wanted to raise was, I mentioned it during our meeting last week. The global leaders are going to join this meeting. So Dedan, if you could already in your letter let's finish this list first, and then let's have a discussion. The meeting I'm getting into is probably 30 minutes, so I could call you up, etc. So Given, allow me to jump out and just proceed. I'll catch up with you later. Thanks, guys.
All right. Okay. So,
Given.
hello? Yes.
Given.
Yes, Liz.
Hello?
Hi, Liz. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So, looking at that table, have you removed Ivory Coast?
Yes, I've put it in red for the time being.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I suppose we will remove it at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Are you
propose for
able to
removing.
see it?
The other thing I was wondering is whether you had factored in the interpretation and translation of documents,
Okay.
because I
I'll
can see
just
we have
I
some
will
French
I will
countries here,
just
Franco
take note.
one
I'll just
country.
take note of it. Can you hear me, Liz?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just take note of it, and then we will have to. So interpretation or interpreters.
Interpreters, right? And translation of conference documents.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, and then of course, there's going to be all these other partners who will probably fund for themselves, right? The UNICEF, the World Bank, EGLAN, Echidna Giving. So we just take note of them because it would be good to have them. But they would not be supported by AFCAN. So from what I'm hearing, Lynette, it's our focus will mainly be on participation of government and the NAPS. Yeah? Hello?
So given Lynette dropped off, she said she had a call she needed to attend to.
Yeah.
I just said that for this to be finalized with something
Yes.
for her to look at, I think end of day. Yeah.
Yeah. So Liz, can you hear me?
Can you? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you hear me,
I'm
Given?
saying, yes, I'm saying that I will finalize the list because for AFCAN, our main support will be government and NAPS. Can you hear me now? Oh dear. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. I guess that you will confirm, but I guess once you finalize the list, then you
Yeah.
can confirm that.
So let me work on the list now, and then I will share it with Lynette, but I can also send it to everyone.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, unless there's something else, Liz. But otherwise,
I don't have anything else. Maybe colleagues.
I have a
in terms,
question.
particularly in terms of the particularly in terms of maybe we've left out some one or two participants that we could also suggest or propose to Lynette for inclusion. That would be helpful. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
I think Rose was asking something.
Does that mean that we will do 250 to 300 invitations? Well, I mean, I think this is something that we need to discuss because from what I'm getting, or at least the thinking has been that we are going to open it up for, we can send invitations to partners that we want to see there, but they will have to sponsor themselves. So the invitation, yes, can be sent to those that are on the list, because we will put up a list of partners that we feel would add value to the discussion around childcare. But then their actual participation will be dependent on their ability to finance themselves. Yeah, Rose, I don't know if you've understood what I've said. Hi, Rose. Okay, thank you, Rose. Thanks. Is there a sound problem? Because I'm not getting anybody.
No,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So
Yeah, but Rose, Joanne, and I are in one room. So maybe the
I
communication
see.
is
Okay. All right.
a little
That's it.
delayed.
Okay. Okay, then. So I can proceed then to work on that list
Yes, I think so.
before Lynette reaches out again, so at least she has something.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.